I'd like to call to order the business meeting of Plymouth Township Council, March 10th. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay, are there any public comments on the agenda itself tonight? Thank you. We have a few announcements before we move into the action items. Council held an executive session on March 3rd, 2025, and we will be holding an executive session this evening after this meeting, March 10th, 2025. Sorry, our materials are digital tonight, so the screen keeps going blank on me, a dock on me. All right, so first we have Resolution 30 Years of Service to be read by Mr. Nelson.
I move that Plymouth Township Council adopt Resolution 2025-17, recognizing Joseph Loschiavo Jr. for 30 years of service to the township per the attachment.
Thank you. We have a motion to adopt the resolution. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Whitney. Mr. Nelson, would you please read the resolution?
Whereas Joseph Loschiavo Jr. has served the Plymouth Township Public Works and Building and Grounds Departments faithfully since March 23, 1995, and has therefore completed 30 years of service. And whereas Plymouth Township Council desires to formally recognize the diligent and valuable service rendered by Joseph Loschiavo Jr. and publicly express its appreciation, now, therefore, be it resolved that Joseph Loschiavo Jr. is congratulated for completion of 30 years of service with the Plymouth Township Public Works and Building and Grounds Department, and be it further resolved that this resolution be entered in the official minutes of Plymouth Township and that a copy of this resolution be publicly tendered to Joseph Loschiavo Jr., adopted this 10th day of March 2025 by Plymouth Township Council by Karen R. Bramblett, Chair.
Thank you. Any questions or comments about the resolution from council or from the audience? Hearing none, we will take a roll call vote. Mr. Nelson?
In favor.
Ms. Vicio?
In favor.
Mr. Whitney?
In favor.
And the chair votes in favor. All right. Next, I move that Township Council adopt Resolution 2025-18, recognizing Jonathan Monahan for 20 years of service to the township per the attachment. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, any questions or comments from council or from the audience? All right, I will read that resolution. Whereas Jonathan Monahan has served the Plymouth Township Police Department faithfully since March 28, 2005, and has therefore completed 20 years of service. And whereas Plymouth Township Council desires to formally recognize the diligent and valuable service rendered by Jonathan Monahan and publicly express its appreciation. Now therefore be it resolved that Jonathan Monahan is congratulated for completion of 20 years of service with the Plymouth Township Police Department, and be it further resolved that this resolution be entered in the official minutes of Plymouth Township, and that a copy of this resolution be publicly tendered to Jonathan Monahan. Any questions or comments from anybody? Hearing none, we will take a roll call vote. Mr. Whitney?
In favor.
Ms. Vicio?
In favor.
Mr. Nelson?
In favor.
And the chair votes in favor. Congratulations. Next item, I move that Township Council appoint the following township residents to the Community Advisory Committee for a 2-year term. Becky Cosgrave. Do I do these one at a time? Thank you. For a 3-year term, Dawn Gaffney, and for a 4-year term, Al Ronderos. Is there a second to this motion?
Second.
I second by Mr. Whitney. Sorry, Lynn, you weren't fast enough. I heard you. Any questions or comments? Ms. Visio, do you have any comments?
I just want to say how appreciative I am that these 3 residents have stepped up to serve on this committee. They've done a fabulous job for us in the past, and I appreciate their willingness to serve going forward.
All right, thank you. Any questions or comments from the audience? Hearing none, we'll take a roll call vote. Ms. Visio?
In favor.
Mr. Whitney?
In favor.
Mr. Nelson?
In favor.
And the chair votes in favor. Okay, next item. No. Sorry, I'm just trying to find this. I move that Township Council appoint Township resident Ronald Plant to the Civil Service Commission for a term expiring December 31st, 2025. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Nelson. Any questions or comments from the audience or council? Okay, hearing none, we will take a roll call vote. Mr. Nelson?
In favor.
Mr. Whitney?
In favor.
Ms. Visio?
In favor.
And the chair votes in favor. Oh, I'm sorry, I should have told you all, please leave, don't stay for all the rest. But I see you already know the drill. Okay. Next, I make a motion that Township Council approve the meeting minutes of the February 3rd workshop meeting and the February 10, 2025 business meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Nelson. Any questions or comments from anybody? Hearing none, we'll take a roll call vote. Mr. Whitney?
In favor.
Ms. Visio?
In favor.
Mr. Nelson?
In favor.
And the chair votes in favor. I'm getting the hang of this. I think it's going to move faster now. Here we go. I just see that the bookmarks will jump me to it. All right. I move that Township Council approve the February 2025 departmental reports and schedule of bills. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Nelson. Any questions or comments from anybody? Hearing none, we'll take a roll call vote. Mr. Nelson?
In favor.
Ms. Visio?
In favor.
Mr. Whitney?
In favor.
And the chair votes in favor. Said I'm getting the hang of it, but because one of our council members is sick, Ms. Leonard, I'm having to jump to some things that she was going to do tonight. and we all wish that she gets well soon. Comes from having an elementary school child. I move that Township Council adopt Resolution 2025-19 to recognize the Harmonville Fire Company No. 1 station rebuild is funded by Plymouth Township in conjunction with the Redevelopment Assistance Capital Program grant funding. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Whitney. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, we will take a roll call vote. Is this something that you read, Mr. Clark? The resolution for the recognizing that Plymouth Township is funding the rebuild of the Harmonville? If not, I'll take it, I guess. I don't know.
So this is the third time that council is seeing this resolution. It's an update of an update. And it's just in coordination with the township's project manager from the state. This is hopefully correcting some of the errors in the previous versions.
I mean, this was just a state requirement, updating the language of a resolution that y'all have heard before. So, do we need to read the whole resolution, or? The update is to insert the name of Plymouth Township Council in some of the places where it said Harmonville. Correct?
Now, there was an update with the bank account that we referred to.
In the bank
total
account.
amount of township funds that are being allocated towards local match.
And the entire resolution doesn't need to be read. If the motion will be sufficient.
Thank you, Mr. Clark. All right. Any questions from the audience after all that? All right, hearing none, we'll take a roll call vote. Mr. Whitney?
In favor.
Ms. Vizio?
In favor.
Mr. Nelson?
In favor.
And the chair votes in favor. All right, next we have a time extension by Mr. Whitney.
I'd like to make a motion that Township Council approve a time extension to July 15, 2025 for LD 22-1, 1508 Sandy Hill Road / Riverview Land Development.
Motion by Mr. Whitney, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Nelson. Any questions or comments? Mr. Whitney would, well, I guess not until we read it. Mr. Whitney, would you please read the extension?
I have a letter from Edward Hughes in regards to the 1508 Sandy Hill Road project, asking for this extension until July 15th.
All right, thank you. Any comments from anybody? Hearing none, we'll take a roll call vote. Mr. Whitney?
In favor.
Ms. Vizio?
In favor.
Mr. Nelson?
In favor.
And the chair votes in favor. All right, next we have a series of motions for the repair of the pool pump room at the community center. I move that Township Council accept the bid of SB Conrad Incorporated in the total amount of $1,969,076 for the pool pump bid general, and authorize the issuance of a notice of intent to award, subject to confirmation that the contractor satisfies all requirements specified therein. Is there a second?
Seconded.
Second by Mr. Nelson. And then Mr. Clark, you're up.
Not really, Ms. Brown, but
Oh,
you just
not?
read the motion, so it's now just asking if there's any public comment or any council comment.
Okay, thank you. I'm just getting used to the digital world. I apologize if y'all are not bearing with me here. All right, so let's take a roll call vote since there are no comments from the public. Mr. Whitney,
In favor.
Ms. Vicio,
In favor.
Mr. Nelson,
In favor.
and the chair votes in favor. Right, next, I move that Township Council accept the bid of ASL Refrigerated, Inc. in the total amount of $528,777 for the pool pump bid mechanical, and authorize the issuance of a notice of intent to award, subject to confirmation that the contractor satisfies all requirements specified therein. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Whitney. Any comments? Hearing none, we'll take a roll call vote. Mr. Whitney,
In favor.
Mr. Nelson,
In favor.
Ms. Vicio,
In favor.
and the chair votes in favor. All right, next, continuing with the pool pump bid, I move that Township Council accept the bid of AKC Mechanical LLC in the total amount of $152,000 for the pool pump bid plumbing, and authorize the issuance of a notice of intent to award, subject to confirmation that the contractor satisfies all requirements specified therein. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Nelson. Any comments or questions from anybody? Hearing none, we'll take a roll call vote. Mr. Nelson,
In favor.
Ms. Vicio,
In favor.
Mr. Whitney,
In favor.
and the chair votes in favor. All right, and the final one, I move that Township Council accept the bid of Carr and Duff LLC in the total amount of $380,211 for the pool pump bid electrical, and authorize the issuance of a notice of intent to award, subject to confirmation that the contractor satisfies all requirements specified therein. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Whitney. Any comments or questions? Hearing none, we'll take a roll call vote. Ms. Vicio,
In favor.
Mr. Whitney,
In favor.
Mr. Nelson,
In favor.
and the chair votes in favor. All right, next, we have a motion by Mr. Whitney.
I move that Township Council adopt Resolution 2025-20, JFK Park Grant Support.
Motion by Mr. Whitney. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Nelson. Any questions or comments? Hearing none. Mr. Whitney, would you read the resolution, please?
Whereas Plymouth Township desires to undertake the project JFK Park, and whereas the applicant desires to receive from the Department of Conservation and Natural Resources a grant for the purpose of carrying out this project, and whereas the application package includes a document entitled Terms and Conditions of Grant, and whereas the applicant understands that the contents of the document entitled Terms and Conditions of Grant, including appendices referred to therein, will become the terms and conditions of a grant agreement between the applicant and the department if the applicant is awarded a grant. And now, therefore, it is resolved that the grant application may be electronically signed on behalf of the applicant by Karen Bramblett, who at the time of signing has a title of Plymouth Township Council Chairperson and the email address of kbramblett@plymouthtownship.org. If this official signed the grant application electronic authorization prior to the passage of this resolution, this grant of authority applies retroactively to the date of signing. If the applicant is awarded a grant, the grant application electronic authorization signed by the above official will become the applicant/grantee's executed signature page for the grant agreement, and the applicant/grantee will be bound by the grant agreement. Any amendment to the grant agreement may be signed on behalf of the grantee by the official who, at the time of signing of the amendment, has the title specified in paragraph 1, and the grantee will be bound by the amendment. Adopted this day, 10th day of March, 2025.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the audience? Hearing none, we will take a roll call vote. Mr. Whitney?
In favor.
Ms. Vizio?
In favor.
Mr. Nelson?
In favor.
And the chair votes in favor. Okay, we will now move on to some informational items. And I apologize, I have to read this because Ms. Leonard isn't here, so excuse my pronunciations. This is the council snow announcement, winter season reminders. It is unlawful to park or abandon a car on any street within 12 hours after a snowfall of 3 inches or more. Vehicles will be towed at the owner's expense. Use off-street parking when snow is predicted. When you park your car in the driveway, there's less snow to shovel. On-street parking, only where no off-street parking is available, is only permitted on the even-numbered side of the street in even years and on the odd-numbered side of the street in odd years. Never approach snow removal equipment. Just because you can see the driver doesn't mean he can see you. We try to keep our crews fresh and rested, but extended weather emergencies can mean long hours for township employees. Please keep children and pets off the streets. Property owners are required to clear their sidewalks at least 30 inches wide within 36 hours after the snow stops. When shoveling your driveway, pile snow to the right. This will prevent the plow from covering your driveway opening again. Don't shovel or plow snow into the street. The plows will just move it back onto your driveway or sidewalk. If the plow has already passed, do not put snow from your driveway into the street. It will refreeze and create a hazard. If there's a fire hydrant by your home, consider adopting it. You know where it is. If it's obscured by snow, fire companies responding to emergencies may not find it. Clearing the snow from the hydrant helps protect you and your neighbors. Next, we have Citizen Board vacancy announcements. All residents wishing to serve on the following citizen boards are asked to submit their resume or a letter stating their interest to the Township Manager, 700 Belvoir Road, Plymouth Meeting, PA 19462, or by email to mwest@plymouthtownship.org. The following citizen board positions are currently open. Property Maintenance Code Appeals Board has 3 positions open, and the Human Relations Commission has 1 position open. Next, we have upcoming zoning hearing announcement by Mr. Nelson.
Yeah, we have a zoning hearing board public hearing on Monday, March 17th, 2025, commencing at 7 p.m. in the Plymouth Township Building. On the following applications, Vandalay Industries has applied for a special exception from Plymouth Township zoning ordinance number 342 as amended, Article 14, Section 1400 and Section 1402.a, and Article 17, Section 1700D12. The variance requested is to permit the use of an indoor sports training facility and a variance from the required number of parking spaces. They are also asking for special exceptions to permit the proposed use as a use of the same general character as a physical fitness center. The property is located at 105 Lee Drive in Limited Industrial Zoning District. We also have an application from Apollo 5 LLC for a special exception from Plymouth Township zoning ordinance number 342 as amended, Article 25, Section 2500.b.4. The special exception they are requesting is to permit the manufacturing, fabricating, assembling, and processing of window opening operating systems. The property is located at 5 Apollo Road in Campus Industrial Zoning District. Any citizen of Plymouth Township or interested party may attend the public hearing and have an opportunity to be heard.
Thank you, Mr. Nelson. And next we have upcoming events and the 25th birthday celebration for the community center. The spring brochure is available as of March 13th this week. the week of March 22 through March 28th, the GPCC annual passes will be 10% off. Senior bingo will be held Monday, March 31st. Summer camp registration is ongoing now. Egg scramble with the bunny will be Saturday, April the 5th, and the Easter extravaganza in the pool is April 13th. Veterans banners at the GPCC Park, if you would like your loved one who served. The deadline for requesting for a new banner is April 1st. The Montgomery County Senior Games will be held May 5th through May 9th, and save the date for Plymouth Township Day will be Saturday, May 31st. The GPCC 25th birthday celebration, there will be a lot of events that day, and it is free. It is Saturday, March 29th from 12 noon to 3 p.m. There will be leisure pool for family swim, an open gymnasium, aerobics classes, refreshments, prizes, and entertainment, a rubber duck race, register for that one, build-a-boat, an aquatic inflatable obstacle course, and that day will be 15% off annual passes.
When is that again, Karen?
That is Saturday, March the 29th, beginning at noon and going through to 3 p.m. It'll be a great day. And if you get an annual pass, it's 15% off. Then we have a Cunnytown update on March the 6th, 2025. Carroll Engineering is finalizing the bid package for the project. This is for the crosswalk. It is expected to be advertised by the end of next week. The current estimated total project cost is $175,000. So hopefully by the end of next week, we will be hearing about that. On the guide rail, in front of that house, near the Blue Route, Carroll Engineering has emailed PennDOT again for a status update on the guide rail installation. On speed reduction measures, council and staff, and this applies to the whole township, not just for Cunnytown, we have scheduled a public town hall meeting for Wednesday, April 30th, 2025. The meeting will be held at the Township Building right here and will be from 6 to 8 p.m. The meeting is expected to be organized into 3 components. An educational component, which is a presentation by the Township's traffic engineer providing an overview of traffic calming measures. This could include its intended purpose, different traffic calming measures, and the pros and cons of each approach. There will be an information component. The staff will update on the township's process, which is under development, for residents to request an evaluation of their street for potential traffic calming solutions. And then there will be a feedback component, an opportunity for residents to share their thoughts and concerns based on the evidence that was presented in the first 2 sections. And the January Cunnytown update was posted to the township website. So any other update matters that we had given last month, those are available on our website. Okay, this is the part of the meeting for audience participation. Would anyone like to speak? And if you do, please come to this table. Make sure the mic is on. State your name, that you live in Plymouth Township, or you don't. We don't need your whole address for privacy. You don't have to do that. Anyone like to speak tonight? Just come right up, take turns.
Hi, good evening. I'm Linda Trembath. I'm on Camelot Drive.
And I'm Amy Leddick. I'm on Arthur's Court, and we're here for the same reason, and we've got some neighbors with us as well. And Matt, I reached out to you, so thank you for having us this
For
evening.
listening. Yes, we're here on behalf of the 110 residents of Plymouth Hills. I have been a resident of Plymouth Hills for 29 years, and throughout that time, we've had frequent power outages, and at times it was 1 to 2 times even a month in the wintertime, back when we first had moved in. Sometimes several days at a time we were without power. And at that point, it was mostly 45 residents that were affected. So through the years, they became more and more frequent. We reached out to our councilman at that time, Marty Higgins, in May 2018, and other members of council were involved. They looked into the issue, and PICO was involved and so on, and they realized in April, I think, 2019, that our neighborhood really was in dire need of an overhaul electrically, with the electrical issues. So work was done, there was a lot involved. They, like I said, they realized that it was a bigger project than they first anticipated, and then power outages seemed to have improved at that point, up until recently when they have started to increase again. Part of the issue is the growth behind my house on Camelot and Arthur's Court. There's like a common township area. I believe, actually, Karen, I think you were out last year with Lynn and
Yes.
looked at the issue of the overgrowth.
And with our Director of Public Works, Mr. Loschiavo.
Yes, and then also behind Amy on Arthur's Court, there's a large area of overgrowth, which we get, it needs trimmed from time to time, and that's an issue. The bigger issue is that in the last 2 weeks, we've had 6 power outages. And it's more than just overgrowth or just a limb here and there. There's actually the transformer between 9, where I am, 9 Camelot, and 7 Camelot, has sparked numerous times. And I have called PICO, and I have complained to PICO. I have voiced my concern again and again, and they keep saying someone will get back, and nothing has been done. So aside from it being a huge safety issue, we are really beyond frustrated that it just doesn't seem to be taken seriously. I mean, it wasn't that long ago, there was a fire in Conshohocken, and I believe it was from a transformer. The last couple weeks, we have been finally just reaching out to other sources. We contacted Representative Scott's office. They were trying to get a hold of PICO, and they seemed to say, oh, well, there's only so much we can do. Then PICO, when I called for one of these last outage issues, they said to call public utilities. So we all sent in a complaint, and then they said, well, we need to now do a formal complaint because their hands are tied. But no one really seems to care unless a fire breaks out, then maybe everyone will start to really take it seriously. I guess you can understand why we're frustrated. I just feel that Plymouth's such a wonderful place to live, and like I said, I've been here 29 years, but it's a little frustrating that there's more and more new restaurants and these giant neighborhoods going in and new growth and development, but yet no one's really paying attention to the middle class, Plymouth Hills, and our issues that we've had for numerous years at this point.
So I'll chime in. On the March 5th power outage, I believe a branch fell. It's my understanding, and other people in this room probably know more about this than me, but part of our neighborhood, the wires were replaced with upgraded equipment. So, however, not all of the wires were. So on March 5th, a branch fell. I did not see it, but my next door neighbor saw a fire and then a boom. So with the drought that we're currently in, and we were in a drought last year, you know, it's concerning that there's a lot of overgrowth on the wires. If we had not had all of the rain that we had on March 5th, you know, it could have sparked a pretty major fire because that's all woods back there between the odd side of Arthur's Court and the Spring Hill Suites Hotel. That area, there's a power line that, with a lot of overgrowth, a lot of us work from home. So when the power goes out, we're missing work. There's a lot of elderly neighbors. So that's a concern. We were without power for almost 24 hours on a very cold day. I think it was February 16th and 17th. The power kept going on and off. Those power surges cause appliances to stop work. My refrigerator was done after 4 power surges. So it's frustrating, and it's a safety hazard. It definitely affects quality of life of residents in this township. So we've reached out to PECO, we've reached out to the Public Utilities Commission, we've reached out to the state representative, Greg Scott, and now we're reaching out to our township, our beloved township, for any help and support that you can provide.
Okay, we'll look into it and see what we can provide, okay? I know, I've been back there. And for a while, it was good, and then all these big storms, and then
It was. good.
vegetation began growing again.
But it's not, yes, the vegetation, but we can see sparks and boom from this
Yeah.
transformer. And no one has come out for PECO to inspect it. That is the bigger issue. Last week, the Representative Scott's office said call the fire department. So this last outage, my husband did. But sadly, if there's a fire and we don't have a fire, the fire company is coming to us to look at this transformer where someone else is in need of the fire company. So,
Sure, I understand, yeah.
but that's what they keep saying, call the fire company. Whether you have a fire or not, they need to go out and see the transformer. So that's what we're going to have to start doing. Unfortunately, no one else has a solution. So we appreciate any help you could give.
We'll try. Thank you. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
taking the
Thank you.
time to come tonight and explain it so fully.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Any other public comment?
Just clarification.
Okay. We'll clarify if we can.
Oh, good. First of all, I'm Artis Lukens.
Plymouth
County
Township.
Town, Plymouth Township. First of all, I want to thank the Plymouth Police Department and the Conshohocken Police Department, mostly the Plymouth Police Department, because they have been very obvious down in County Town, especially with the rebirth of the proving grounds, and all the traffic and the speeding that brings on, and the golf is getting big again, so they're showing up again. But what I wanted to understand was, you said the bid for the crosswalk would be going out, is ready and would go out at the end of this week, is that correct? Okay. So, once that bid goes out at the end of this week, and I'm just going to say March 13th, once that goes out, then what happens? Then there's 90 days, is it? 60 days for a response?
I'm not sure what's written in the bid specs, whether it's 60 or 90.
I'm not sure yet either.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
either 60 or 90.
Okay, can
So
you,
then the bid goes out, it gets advertised, and since the estimated total project is in excess of $150,000, that means our responsible contractor ordinance will then be triggered, which will then increase the time for a review. And then we'll have to wait and see what bids we get, and once the bids come in, we review that, and that will be another potential council consideration in the future meeting.
okay. Okay, so we'd be looking at, if it goes out in 60 days, and let's say they have 60 days to reply, and then you have 60 days to look it over and determine, would that be fair?
Well, Mr. West said we didn't know what was in the bid documents, how much time they have.
Right, 60,
Could be 60, could be something else.
could
That's-
be, okay. But let's just say 60 days. for them to respond back with a bid. So then we're looking at March and April, so we're looking at like May, you guys would be getting the bid, correct? Okay, so May you would be getting it. Okay, and we know that we can't do the painting until after it warms up,
Correct,
correct?
because of the kind of paint that's used.
Right, so, and we can't start painting until we get it approved?
Oh, correct, that painting's part of the bid.
Okay, so let's say you would need 60 days to look over all these bids? Is that fair?
I think we can go shorter than that.
Okay, but let's just,
Worst case scenario, 60 days.
okay, so May, July. So you would be awarding in, let's say, August? Maybe, July or August?
Hopefully we can have, just looking at our traffic engineer here.
I'm just trying to figure out if we're going to have a crosswalk by the next school year, which will be the third school year that we've been at this.
Our traffic engineer is confident if the bids go out and we get good bids that come in, that there's no reason that it could not be constructed this year, in 2025.
Okay, this year, though, it's just March, so by the end of this year?
All I said was constructed this year.
Can we get some clarification on that, Matt? Like, can we find out if he's talking about before the school year
I
starts?
think it'll be much more clear once the bids go out and once we get the bids. I think then I'll be able to commit to what that looks like in the timeframe.
Okay,
You know, if we're estimating $175,000. Granted, we have only budgeted $75,000 included in the 2025 budget, and the bids come in unbelievably high, then that's going to be another discussion point for council to consider whether or not to move forward with those bids.
okay.
But I don't want to commit with definite timelines without knowing what the bid results are going to be. I think that would be the best course of action at this point.
Okay. Okay. And we still don't know about, we've got silence on the guardrail thing.
Haven't gotten back to us, correct?
Okay. I mean, that, of all the concerns, it's one house, two houses.
And
not
any
that
driver
that's
who
not
might go off the
important.
cliff, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, all right, and then the speed bump thing, all right, I think we've got everything. Thanks.
All right, thank you, Otis.
And thank you, Chief.
A comment from anybody else? All right, hearing none, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you all for coming.